Commissioner Gordon, Bane has escaped.
Your body knows what it was built to do. It knows the load it can carry. It knows the weight, the pressure, the challenge it was designed for. And right now, you're giving it a fraction of that, and it's screaming. You've been calling the scream a lot of things. Depression, laziness, being lost. None of those are what it is. It's a body in the wrong life, trying to wake the man inside it before the lights go out for good. Animals know when they're caged. A wolf in a small pen starts pacing. A lion in a zoo goes quiet in a way that isn't peace. A hawk that can't fly stops eating. You're not different. You're an animal with a phone. The restlessness, the irritation, the low hum of something's wrong. That's the caged version of you moving in circles. You've been medicating it with scrolling, eating, drinking, watching, scrolling again. The cage doesn't go away. The animal just gets tired. And a tired animal looks like a calm one from the outside, which is how most men walk around calling their defeat maturity. Ever notice how alive you feel after something hard? Not comfortable. Alive, a real workout. A confrontation you didn't back down from. A task you were scared of and did anyway. For about an hour after, the static in your head goes quiet, and you feel like yourself for the first time in weeks. You think it's the achievement. It isn't. It's your body finally being used the way it was made to be used. You got a glimpse of what you were supposed to feel like every day. Then you went back to the couch and couldn't figure out why you felt hollow again by Tuesday. That hollow isn't the baseline, it's withdrawal. Picture a racehorse living in a studio apartment. Feed it, water it, let it watch TV. 6 months later, something's wrong with it and no one can explain what. Vet can't find it, blood work is fine. But the animal is dying slowly from being alive in the wrong conditions for what it is. Men die like this all the time, and nobody writes it on the death certificate. They call it a heart attack at 52. They call it depression at 38. They call it drinking problems at 45. The real cause is simpler and uglier. A body built for something it was never allowed to do, breaking down from the unused potential rotting inside it. Here's the part nobody tells you. The desire to be great has an expiration date. It doesn't stay forever. Your body won't keep asking you to rise if you keep telling it no. There is a window, and the window closes quietly, without warning. You won't notice the day it happens. You'll just wake up one Wednesday in your late 30s and realize you haven't felt that itch in a long time, and you'll feel something worse than regret. You'll feel relief. Relief that the ambition finally shut up. That relief is the sound of the man you were supposed to be dying inside you. And once he's dead, you don't come back from it. You just keep walking around in a body that used to be his. Watch a 12-year-old boy try to do something for the first time. Watch his face. There's a fire there that has no name yet. No strategy, no cope. Just raw wanting. That was you once. You had it before the world taught you to manage expectations, before your teachers told you to be realistic, before your uncles laughed at your plans, before you learned the word unlikely. That fire didn't leave. It got buried. It's still down there under 15 years of sensible decisions, and the hum you feel at night is it trying to breathe through the dirt. You can keep piling more on top, or you can start digging. Those are the options. There isn't a third one, no matter how long you look for it. Your testosterone knows. Your adrenaline knows. Your nervous system knows. These aren't metaphors, they're chemistry. Men were designed to hunt, build, fight, provide, risk, create. The hardware is still in you. The wiring hasn't changed in 50,000 years. But you've given it a life of sitting, swiping, and waiting. The body does not understand what you're doing. It keeps producing the chemicals meant for a bigger life and has nowhere to put them, so they turn inward: anxiety, rage at nothing, a short fuse with people you love. That's not your personality. Comfort is not peace. Write it down if you have to. A man at peace and a man in comfort look similar from across the room, but inside they're opposite. Peace is what comes after you've done the hard thing. Comfort is what you use to avoid doing it. One is a reward. The other is a trap dressed up as a reward. You've been collecting comforts for a decade and wondering why they don't feel like peace. They never will. Comfort without struggle is just a sedative, and you're not tired from working too hard. You're tired from not working hard enough at anything that matters to you. Your body can tell the difference between the two kinds of tired. You can too if you get honest about it. Shame you can survive. Regret you can survive. The thing you cannot survive is the quiet ending of wanting anything at all. Some men reach 40 and they've stopped. They don't want more. They don't want less. They just exist in a neutral gear, moving through weeks, watching shows, waiting for weekends, waiting for retirement, waiting for a death they already started. Those men didn't lose a big fight. They lost 1,000 small ones, and each loss shaved a little off the desire until the desire was too small to feel. You are in that process right now. Every day you ignore the pull gets smaller. The fire isn't infinite. It runs on being answered, and you've been leaving it on read. You aren't broken. Let me say it again so it lands. You aren't broken. You're a man with range trying to survive in a life with no ceiling high enough for it. Every symptom you've been treating is downstream of one thing: the gap between what you could carry and what you're choosing to carry. You can name it whatever clinical word you want. The gap doesn't care what you call it. The gap just keeps widening until you close it, or it closes you. Therapy is useful, but it's a mirror, not a hammer. It shows you the shape of the problem. It does not lift the problem off your chest. A man can spend 6 years in therapy learning the exact childhood mechanics of his avoidance and still avoid. Insight without action is a narcotic with a vocabulary. You start to feel smart about your suffering. You start to explain it beautifully. You start to sound like you're healing because you can describe the wound in detail. Meanwhile, the wound is still open, and you've just learned its Latin name. Weed doesn't calm you. It anesthetizes the signal. Every hit you take is a text message from your future self you refuse to answer. You smoke because sober you is in a life sober you can't stand, and instead of changing the life, you change your ability to notice it. 4 years go by like this. You haven't solved anything. You've just been out of the room while the building burned. The day you quit is the day you find out the anxiety was never the problem. The life underneath it was, and the smoke was just a curtain you pulled over a window you didn't want to look through. Weekends in Miami don't fix it. Neither does Tulum. Neither does that trip to Japan you've been telling everyone about. A man in the wrong life just takes the wrong life with him and carry on. Same head, new beach. Same emptiness, better photos. The 4 days feel different because the scenery changed, and you confuse scenery with healing. You come home Sunday night, open your laptop Monday morning, and by 10 a.m. the exact same weight is back on your chest. You blame the job. You blame the city. You blame the weather. It was never the location. It was the man who kept showing up in it. The gym helps, but only up to the point where you start using it as a replacement. Some men channel the pressure into 180-pound bench and nothing else. They look built. Inside, they're still running the same small life in a bigger body. The gym was supposed to be the first door, not the whole house. If your training is the most ambitious thing in your week, You're using discipline in one small room to hide from applying it to every other room. Muscle is cheap compared to a life. Men build one so they have an excuse not to build the other. There's a specific type of exhaustion that only comes from playing small. Nothing drains a man faster than operating below his level. You think you're tired from doing too much. You're tired from doing too little of what actually matters and too much of everything else. The meetings, the errands, the maintenance of a life you don't want. All of it takes more out of you than building something real would, because the body hates being a car stuck in second gear. It's working hard and going nowhere, burning fuel for no distance. And you feel it in your bones by 4 p.m. every day. Dopamine won't save you. Novelty won't save you. A new city won't save you. A new haircut, a new wardrobe, a new routine, a new diet. None of it touches the problem. The mismatch isn't on the surface. It's structural. You are trying to calm a soul-level signal with skin-level solutions, and the signal was never going to respond to that. It wants evidence, not vibes, not mantras. Evidence that you are willing to do something hard, sustained, and uncomfortable in the direction it's been pointing you for years. Until it sees that evidence, it will keep sending the same alarm through every nerve in your body, and no product will ever silence it. Notice who you become around people who are living their full size. Watch what happens inside you in a room with a man who is actually building, actually risking, actually producing something real. You get quiet. Something in you straightens up. Your voice changes. You stop performing. For the length of that conversation, the itch goes away. Then you leave the room and it comes back louder. That man wasn't inspiring you. He was showing your body what its own frequency feels like, and your body remembered. That memory is the thing you've been hiding from. It's proof the signal was right. Ambition was never about wanting more stuff. It's the only language your future self speaks. He can't text you. He can't email. He only has one channel, a low, persistent pull toward a specific direction, showing up as restlessness, as envy, as dissatisfaction, as that strange ache when you see someone doing the thing you were supposed to do. Every time you feel it, he's calling. Every time you ignore it, you're letting the phone ring out. The calls don't stop right away. He keeps trying, for years sometimes, but there's a limit to how long he'll reach for a man who won't pick up. A stranger in your own skin. Feel that phrase, catching your reflection in a window and not recognizing the man looking back. Hearing your own voice in a conversation and thinking, who is this guy? Getting older and feeling further from yourself instead of closer. That isn't a midlife crisis. It's what happens when you spend a decade ignoring the calls. The man you were supposed to become gave up on reaching you, and the gap between who you are and who was trying to reach you got so wide that your own reflection stopped matching your idea of yourself. You became someone else while you were busy not listening. Identity drift is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It happens at the speed of small compromises. A year ago you had standards. Now you have explanations for why you don't. 2 years ago you had a vision. Now you have a list of reasons it wasn't realistic. 5 years ago you had a version of yourself you were loyal to. Now you can't even remember what he wanted. The drift never feels like falling. It feels like adjusting, being an adult, being practical. By the time you notice you've drifted, you've already drifted so far that turning around feels impossible. So you keep going, calling the drift maturity to make it hurt less. Listen to the language of a man who stopped answering. He talks in past tense about things that were supposed to be his future. I used to want to. Back when I still thought I'd. He doesn't notice he's doing it. He thinks he's just telling a story. He's really filing a report on his own surrender. Every "I was gonna" is a headstone for a version of him that died because the call came and he let it ring. Count how many of those sentences you've said this year. Count how many you've heard from your father. Count how many you're storing up to pass down to your own son without meaning to. Confusion in your 30s is usually just unanswered calls from your 20s. The decisions you didn't make. The moves you didn't try. The thing you knew at 23 and talked yourself out of by 27. All of it piles up into a fog you call not knowing what I want. You know what you want. You knew 10 years ago. You've just buried it under enough rationalization that retrieving it would require admitting you've been running from it the whole time. The fog isn't a lack of clarity. It's the dust from all the exits you ran past. The call has a specific texture, and once you learn to recognize it, you can't pretend anymore. It shows up as a particular kind of envy, not for rich guys, not for famous guys, but for men living a life that's structurally close to yours except they kept going. It shows up as irrational attraction to certain topics, certain skills, certain problems you can't stop thinking about even though they don't pay you. It shows up as a weird grief after you spend a whole weekend consuming content instead of creating anything. Pay attention to those specific flavors. They're not random. They're return addresses. Every time you choose the numb option, you train your nervous system to stop signaling. The body is efficient. If a signal isn't getting answered, it reduces the volume to save energy. Then it reduces it again. Then it stops sending. Year-old men often describe feeling flat, not sad, not angry. Flat. The signal that used to pull them somewhere has been downgraded so many times it barely registers anymore. They mistake the flatness for wisdom. It's not wisdom. It's a transmitter that got turned off from neglect, and they're walking around calling the silence peace. The strangest part of ignoring the call is that you still feel the consequences of the life you didn't live. The grief of a path you never took is real grief. Men cry in their 50s for versions of themselves that never existed. They mourn careers they never started. They mourn bodies they never built. They mourn the fathers, brothers, friends they never became. This grief is not irrational. You did lose someone. He was going to be you. You just didn't let him in. And his absence is measurable. You can feel the shape of him missing from every room you walk into. There is a precise age at which most men accept the wrong life, and it's younger than you think. It's usually between 26 and 31. A series of small surrenders happens in that window, and they quietly lock in a trajectory that takes 40 years to fully play out. You can't always see it while it's happening. You just wake up one day much later and realize the turns were made, the doors were closed, the man was chosen. If you're in that window right now, understand, you are making the decisions of your entire life this year, not in some dramatic future. The future is being poured like concrete underneath you while you're busy scrolling. Nobody warns you that the call gets replaced by other voices when you stop answering. Your parents' fears, your friends' limits, the culture's scripts, advertisers' suggestions. These voices are louder than the real one, and they rush in the second you mute the signal. You start mistaking their instructions for your own desires. You buy things you don't want. You chase careers you don't care about. You pursue timelines that aren't yours. You live a life curated by a committee of strangers and can't figure out why none of it feels like it fits. It doesn't fit because it wasn't yours. You outsourced the blueprint the second you stopped listening to the one you came with. Before you ever drew breath, men with your blood were making choices they couldn't afford. Your great-grandfather picked the safe job. His father stayed in the village. The one before him buried a dream in a field nobody remembers. Every one of them had the same itch you have right now, and every one of them made peace with ignoring it because the world they lived in didn't leave room for more. That unlived ambition didn't die with them. It moved. It went looking for another body, yours. Your DNA is a resume of surrenders. Somewhere in that long line, men chose survival over meaning, security over size, staying over leaving. Each time one of them folded, the bet passed down. You are holding a hand that has been folded for 5 generations, and you're the first one in a long time with enough cards left to play it. Understand what that means before you waste another Tuesday. You are not just failing yourself when you quit. You are confirming a pattern that has been looking for an exit for 200 years. Picture your grandfather as a young man, not the old man you knew, the young one. 24, strong, angry, full of ideas nobody let him try. Picture him standing in front of a door he was never allowed to open. Now picture him looking at you, not with pride, not with love, with impatience. He wants to know why you're still staring at the same door he died in front of. He had reasons, a war, a country, a family to feed. What's yours? A bad morning, a rough year, an uncomfortable childhood. He'd trade lives with you in a second and have half your list handled by lunch. Generational trauma is a phrase people use to get sympathy. Generational potential is a phrase nobody uses because it comes with responsibility. Everything your ancestors didn't get to become is sitting in your chest as raw material. The intelligence they weren't educated to use, the courage they weren't allowed to spend, the creativity they buried to keep the lights on. All of it is in you, uncached. You've been treating it like anxiety. It's an inheritance. You're sitting on a vault and calling it a stomach ache. Something strange happens when a man finally moves. The fog lifts faster than it should. Decisions clarify. Energy returns. Old fears thin out. Men think this is motivation kicking in. It's older than that. When you start moving in the direction your bloodline was stopped, something ancient in your body recognizes what you're doing and floods you with the fuel that was stored for this exact moment. You are not starting from zero. You are picking up a relay that has been handed off for generations, and every man before you is quietly giving you the last of what they had. The son you might have one day is already in the equation. He inherits not just your genes, but your ceiling. Whatever you refuse to face, he gets handed. Whatever pattern you won't break, he gets born into. The laziness you're nursing at 27 becomes the background of his childhood at 6. The fear you won't confront at 30 becomes the invisible rule he absorbs at 10. You think you're only making decisions about your own life. You're drafting the first chapter of his. Every year you delay, you hand him a heavier version of the exact fight you're avoiding. Breaking the chain is not loud work. It's not a speech. It's not a tattoo. It's done in silence alone in the specific hours when nobody's watching. The 5 a.m. when you got up. The Friday night you didn't go out. The hard thing you did when you could have skipped it. These small unseen moments are where generational shifts actually happen. Nobody in your family tree will ever know which day you broke it. They won't hand out a medal. The only evidence will be a grandson somewhere 50 years from now, living a life no one in your line has ever touched, not knowing why his path feels clearer than his father's ever did. Consider the opposite possibility seriously. Consider what it means to be the generation that confirmed the pattern. The one who had more opportunity than any man before him and did less with it. The one who had access to information, health, freedom, and tools his great-grandfather would have killed for and used them to scroll. That man exists. He's real. He's being decided right now. He might be you. 100 years from now, Your name will be a whisper in a family story told by someone who isn't sure what you did with your life. You get to pick which story that is. The ancestors you never met are not rooting for you in some spiritual way. They're in you. Their unfinished business is your restlessness. Their unsent letters are your ambition. Their unanswered questions are the ones that keep you up at night. You are the last draft of a project that has been in revision for generations, and every man who came before you is holding their breath waiting to see if this draft finally ships. Most of them don't.